Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this fourth episode of our vlog on this trip. So yesterday we made it to the Trump rally, which is good news. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get inside, so we had to witness it from a screen, which was actually amazing. It was a very interesting crowd. Piet, what were your reflections on yesterday on the rally?
It was a sunny day. That's a song from Springsteen, but he does not want to be connected to Trump rallies. It was very impressive. It was something like 30,000 people. Only 5,000 or 6,000 people could get into the venue. No one knew really how that worked. All the people were in line and thought they would get in, but at a certain point they just closed it, and you should have been there at 8 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people were sleeping the night over there. There were campsites and places where you can get power, electricity. So we were far too late because we had to take a 4-hour drive. Started at 7, got there at 11. So we found out quite easily after 2 hours queuing up that we could make it inside, but outside was fun. We had lots of conversations with all kinds of people. Everyone was very friendly, very relaxed. It was a family day. Small kids, students. I was surprised about how many young people that came to this rally from all over not from all over the States. Some people traveled, like we did, for 4 hours. Came from Washington DC. People brought in their grandparents, the complete families. Extreme people like Tea Party people, but also the regular people who were not really happy and wanted to vote for someone who was more or less going to disturb the system and make the world better for them. At least that's what they hope, that's what they think, that's what they believe in. Yeah. And that's what we hope for them. But it was very interesting. The guy on the screen was much more friendly than we see him at television at home, because then you have all sound bites of blah 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 blah. And this time he could do his own thing. He loved the people loved him. It was very relaxed. It was surprisingly acceptable, basically. Yeah. Not his points of view, but the total thing was one big picnic outside for families, and it was very nice to experience this rally. Yeah. What do you think?
So I have like 3 key takeaways. The first one is it was definitely an entertainment show. So it was end-to-end entertainment, and for political purposes, even though the political substance was very superficial. So indeed the sound bites were eventually, I think, 3 or 4 main talking points, and everything around that was basically a show. So I think, reflecting on that, I was expecting to see this, what we talked about, right? The wrestling match. It wasn't aggression. There wasn't any fiercefulness or adversity. It was a very family-oriented festival indeed. So from that point of view, it was indeed an entertainment show, but as a target audience, it wasn't like we in Europe would think that, well, crazy people go to these rallies. No, definitely not. We came across very intellectual
people. We were standing alive with a family from, basically they came from California, but they moved away there after COVID. They called themselves members of the Tea Party, which basically is the most extreme part, a reasonable extreme part of the GOP, Republicans. But they were with 3 kids and with grandma, and grandma had a big shirt with a gun on it about freedom for guns and for people, or something like that. She was a teacher in a public school, but the kids did not go to school, they got lessons at home. and she didn't like that job, but yeah, they had to make some money. They lived on a farm. Nice people. When, at the end of the night, after 8 hours, they came to say hi and have a safe trip home. And what do you think about it? They were very, very, very friendly. And there was another lady from DC. She was a real estate agent. She brought in her mother, 87 years old. There were people from Canada with Dutch origin that we talked to. They had some car racing in the NASCAR car racing in the neighborhood. They drove for 1 hour to see the rally, and it would be Trump standards, Trump voters if they would live in the US, but they came from Canada. So there were a lot of youngsters. I was surprised to see how many young people, kids, sorry guys, people from 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 that can vote, that were walking around there and having benches, and of course we bought some hats.
Yes, I'm sure you've seen those
big hats.
Pictures.
There was even Dutch television, there was Norwegian television, there was Denmark television. We had a small conversation with the guys from the NOS.
Yes.
And basically, well, I provoked them a little bit by saying, I hope you give some real information instead of some sound bites that make you look crazy. But it was, I can't say it was organized well, but people were having a day off. It was a Saturday, the sun was shining. They had to wait for over 6 hours before he showed up, but everyone knew it. The program started at 2 when he should come at 4, but he came at 5:30 because he had 3 or 4 rallies that same day. Very relaxed, totally relaxed. People were picnicking. No one was drunk or anything like that. It was an interesting, very funny day, and organized quite well. And I must say that the guy did it. The guy, Trump in this case, did a real, made it look really family, really nice, relaxing. Totally different than what we are used to see on television. It was very interesting.
I think that was my second key takeaway, that Trump comes up very human-like. Like, he's funny, he's truly... so when we get to sound bites on TV, usually we don't see what reaction the crowd gives. And actually, even though there are things that we consider stupid by hearing these sound bites, when you hear that in front of a crowd, you see how the crowd gets triggered. So it was very, very well orchestrated. It was very well thought out of. Even the things that we think are weird seem to fit in with the crowd. The crowd was very responsive to anything he was basically saying. I think part of it is also that it was very well organized in the sense that he had slides, he had videos which were very well made. So there wasn't much of coincidence happening on the stage. Even the people that he introduced during his talk, they fitted in so well with the points that he was making. And it was very easy to digest the information that was being presented. So from a content point of view, it was amazing entertainment. And I think my third takeaway is that I came to the realization that what if in Western European countries these techniques would be implemented, how different it would be from campaigning in the fashion that is now happening in West Europe. So I think there is a lot to learn from the US from a perspective of campaigning. It's very well organized. Even though we felt that on that festival things weren't as smooth, but it created some kind of anticipation. Like,
it was big.
People were looking up into the sky, whether his helicopter would come, whether as if a messias is coming to save.
So it's a different experience.
Yeah.
talking about Messias, there was this one guy with the big, how do you call it, speaker thing?
Yeah.
PA system. And he was walking around the crowd, and he was a really hardcore Christian. And he was saying bad things to the people because they were not religious enough. And some people, young people, old people went to him and said, "Go away, go somewhere else." But he said, freedom of speech, and no one really bothered him or wanted to touch him. Someone called the police and they said, freedom of speech. Until after 4 hours, someone from security came and said, well, the rules is this is not allowed. You know it when you enter the place over here that we don't want this. We don't want people with megaphones over here. And at that point, he really went away. Funny thing was another guy went to stand next to him and dropped his pants, showed his ass to say, okay, you don't bullshit, man. But no one got aggressive or so. It was, I can't imagine it would happen in the Netherlands. It would be a mess. It would be a mess. And it's, yeah, but everyone was civilized, friendly.
Even though it's very difficult to pinpoint what the common denominator was of these people, because there were a lot of common denominators, and to say only the Christian faith, that would be too much limiting. It was truly families with children,
well,
like
I mean,
young couples.
This guy was so hardcore Catholic that the visitors from Trump rally thought he was too much.
Too extreme.
Anyway, he was too extreme for them, and he was quite annoying with his people. But what the people about it is, they want a better life. That's basically the effect we knew it, but talking to all these people, you realize that really that's true. That there is no American dream anymore, and they want to have their dream back. They want to have their dream back for the kids. I guess that basically we see the same thing going on here. So I guess that was the most clear thing after sleeping a night. After experiencing this, but it was a long drive. Got home after 12 o'clock. We left at 7 o'clock in the morning. It was a long day. The driver did well most of the time.
The first 10 minutes I messed up. That's a cliffhanger for the next time.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you all for listening in, and
Stay well.
speak to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye guys.